Hi, and welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations, and welcome to a special episode. Now, we normally release a new episode every Thursday at about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, but today is Tuesday. And the reason for that is it's a special episode in support of a special event that's coming up this Saturday, April 18th, 2026, at the Forge Pickleball Club in Ottawa, Ontario. I had a chance to sit down with cancer survivor Andrea Douglas and talk about her tournament, the tournament that she and others are hosting at the Forge this Saturday in Ottawa. Pickle Power is the name of the tournament. There's all kinds of teams, there'll be all kinds of costumes, all kinds of fun, all kinds of camaraderie, and all kinds of conversation around the work that the Ottawa Cancer Foundation is doing to help support those diagnosed with cancer. It is one of the most difficult moments in anyone's life. Andrea shares her personal journey through cancer and how that led to pickleball and ultimately this weekend. We hope you enjoy this conversation with Andrea Douglas as much as we did on Kitchen Conversations. Well, Andrea, welcome to my podcast. Welcome to Kitchen Conversations, and thank you so much for being here today. I'm totally inspired by your story and honored at the chance to share a bit of that with those listening and watching today. So I want to start by thanking you for being here.
Thank you, Mike. It's a thrill for me to be here as well.
Well, it's just such a story. And, full disclosure to everyone watching and listening today, you and I just met literally about 10 minutes ago for the first time. We were just introduced to one another in the last couple of days, thanks to Diana from the Ottawa Pickleball Association. And she has kind of put the two of us together and suggested that maybe we should do a quick podcast in support of a pretty big event that's coming up April 18th. At the Forge Pickleball Club in Ottawa. And we'll get to the details of all of that in just a couple of minutes. But yeah, your story as a cancer survivor and the work that you've done to raise funds and raise awareness for this, Andrea, are just remarkable. And so if you don't mind, I would love to have 3 separate rallies with you in the time that we've got together today. And in rally number 1, I'd really like to talk about your cancer and your journey through that, the moment that you were diagnosed. How did that feel? And let's hear that story. And then we'll transition into something a little lighter, which is pickleball, this crazy, remarkable game called pickleball. And I'm convinced, Andrea, that if they had named it something other than pickleball, it probably would have gained far more attraction and far more interest and growth 30 years ago. Yeah, I think that, and I love the name, but I think, it's one of the things that has maybe held it back over the years because it is just the greatest game in the world, in my opinion. And then the third rally, that third rally is the important rally. It's really the rally that we talk about, the work that you're doing to raise awareness and funds and what you've done in the past and some of the other events that you've organized and had such success with. So if you don't mind, why don't you jump into rally 1 and give us, go take us back. I think it was 2014 when you were diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, and tell us about that moment, Andrea, and how you worked your way through all of that.
So, wow, where to begin? 2014. Yeah, so I actually found the lump myself, and as any person would do when they're a little worried about something, reached out to my doctor, who saw me immediately. I was sent out for mammogram and all those other things that followed, and sure enough, it came back as a breast cancer diagnosis. Now, when you hear those words, you have cancer, you do basically feel like your life might just be coming to an end right then and there. It's such an emotional blow. My husband, my 2 daughters, who at the time were in, let's see, how old would they have been? 16 and 20. Um, It's a devastating blow, not for the individual alone, but for the entire family, of course. And I don't even remember how I dealt with those, first few days. All I do remember is that on a Monday, I was given the breast cancer diagnosis. On the Friday, we met with my breast cancer surgeon, who was an amazing surgeon and who really put my mind at ease and made me believe that I was going to come out the other side of this. And that was, for 5 days I didn't breathe, I didn't Google, I couldn't do anything. And then to learn that, it was early stage, but I'd still have to go through a lot of stuff. That was the toughest week of the whole thing, probably. And from there, I had surgery, I had chemo, I had radiation, and then I was on medication, hormone blocking drugs for 6 years. And so that's it. So I lost my hair, all those things, I and it was the situation where I thought, okay, has been horrible, but I learned ways to get through it. And one of the ways I think I came through it was with the help of a support group, which was run by the hospital at the time. And so at the time, I met 8 other women who were on the same journey, various stages of it, but pretty much the same. And we just discovered, unbeknownst to me earlier, that a support group meant that there were people that understood precisely what you were going through versus your family loves you. They want to help, they support you, they are there for you, but they don't get it, and those other breast cancer patients do. And it's the same with any other situation, but that was really that was, I'd say, almost a life-altering moment for me, because from there is where I then discovered how a support group could make a difference in this journey, and so now that's what I've been doing for the last, how many years is it? 11? 10?
Wow, what a story, and I thank you so much. It's such a personal story, so I appreciate you being willing to go there and to share that. I think it's important that that message is understood, and I wanna draw you back to a point you made because we mentioned just off camera, my dad was diagnosed, over 30 years ago, he was diagnosed with bone cancer, and we ultimately lost him to that disease, and, I know for dad, we just didn't know what to say. We as a
Yeah,
family, the kids or my brother and I and my mom, there was no good news. Dad was diagnosed as terminal bone cancer, so there was just no saving him. It was just a matter of pain management, and we had the conversation about quantity over quality and, all the things that you go through when you're diagnosed with a terminal disease, be it cancer or anything else. And so I love your story about the support group, Andrea, because
mhm,
to me that's the magic bullet. That's the thing that just keeps you going and keeps you getting up the next day and finding that next step and that next breath and
yeah,
making your way through that. And yes, the family knows and they understand, but I found it just, and again, this is not about me, this is about you and what you're doing. But just to make the point with those listening, who haven't been through it yet, those support groups are so important, to know
yeah.
that you're not alone. I'm not here alone. And the relatable conversations that you can have with those people versus your family, two totally different conversations, I would assume.
Absolutely. It just so different. And it's just no one can quite understand unless they've been in your shoes. It's just the way it is. As much as they want to be there and support you, and they do. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, and it's even the little things, like helping other women with little tricks, like what helps when you're feeling really sick from chemo, or what helps when your skin is really burned from the radiation, or any number of things, because there are a lot of side effects, there are a lot of things to grapple with, and it's all about helping other women on the journey. And it's for me, it's been a very fulfilling thing for many women. They go through the experience, and then they need to step away, and they don't want to utter the word cancer again.
Right. Right.
And for me, it's almost been the opposite, where
Yeah.
I embrace embrace it isn't maybe the right word, but I want to help others, and it's just become a part of who I am.
I just love it. I just love so much what you're doing, and I think it's so important. And for those that are are in that moment, and there may be someone listening right now that is in that moment that you just described. And so maybe there's,
Yeah.
a message in that just, make sure you're connecting with the right groups. And there's lots of them out
Yes.
there. And thank goodness there is, Andrea, because that's just such an important part of what this process is. So, well, thank you for that. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. So let's, jump into now kind of this crazy, wonderful game called pickleball, and we joked a little bit off camera about this crazy name. And, there's a lot of rumors. I think there's two stories about how it was named. One had to do with a
Yeah.
dog, one had to do with a boat. You decide which one you want to believe in. They're
Yeah.
both interesting stories. But I've played the game for about 3 years. I couldn't imagine not having the game as part of my day, week, month, year. I just love it. I love the people. And, you talk about that support group. I've got my little pickleball support pals that
It's so similar, yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And particularly in my group, what I've found is that, there are we're all of a certain age, so many of us have obviously gone through a lot of experiences already, but, amongst my now close circle of pickleball lady friends, I'd say the vast majority have had cancer, many,
Sure.
many breast cancers, other cancers as well, and it sort of helps make the group what it has become in this particular instance anyway, and made them super involved and excited about helping on this crazy ride that we call this Pickle Power fundraiser. So yeah, but, you know, I'm about 3 years new to the game as well, and in fact, pickleball originally, I knew it existed, I actually had no idea what it was.
Right.
All I knew was my neighbor at the cottage, every Friday, she would take her boat across to the other side of the lake to get in her car and go and play pickleball, and we'd say, "Oh, there goes Jane to play pickle what is this pickleball thing anyway?" I didn't know if it was a card game or a
Right.
physi I had no clue, and so now
Yeah.
she laughs at me because I used to pickleball, I'm like, "That sounds
Yeah.
stupid," whatever that is. But yeah, so here I am definitely a pickleball convert.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, does it? It's momentary almost. I mean, it's the first 2 or 3 minutes. I've had the luxury of introducing a number of people to the game, and, that experience, I love it. I love when I can tell somebody's not sure, very similar to, where you found yourself and I found myself many years ago, not understanding what this thing was, and I think there was a point, I've mentioned this on previous podcasts, where if you were a pickleball player, you were a little embarrassed by it at one point. You're like, "I play pickleball," and now everybody's out there going, "I'm a pickleball
Yeah,
player,"
yeah.
and we're throwing our hands in. We just love the game, and so
Yeah,
well, I'm so glad that you found it in the way that you did. And
yeah.
it's obviously an important part of your week. I know you played earlier today.
I did, yeah, I think I'm up to, sometimes it's 4 times a week, and I know lots of people play a lot more than that. Listening to your, Kawamoto family, broadcast, I was astounded to hear them say that the dad was playing 5 hours that day, and I
That's
know I would
Tom.
collapse.
Tom may need to seek some help on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
addiction may
it's
have
like
taken a whole different to a whole different
is there
level.
a
I
Pickleballs
mean,
Anonymous? That should be the next podcast.
yeah, that's great. Well, I'm so glad the game's part of it. Yeah, it's just so wonderful. And I think, it itself, when we talk about support groups, Andrea, and we talk about the importance of that socialization and the relationships and the new friendships that get built on the court, there is something about this game. And obviously, our podcast is all about the stories behind the paddle and the people that play the game and the
Mhm,
wonderful lives that they've led and the interesting lives that they've led as well. And I'm
mhm,
fascinated by so much of that. But there is that instant connection. It just seems that we make friends quicker, faster, longer,
yeah.
and more meaningful through pickleball than almost any other thing that I've done in my life. And would you agree with that?
So much, and I don't understand the reasoning behind it. All I know is that this, I started playing pickleball in a learn to play pickleball group with my husband when he retired. He didn't really stick with it. I did. And then I got into this Monday, Wednesday league with a bunch of random people. I knew one or two, just from being an old Ottawa person. Um, and before I knew it, they just sort of became part of my landscape, and then the following 2 years, it's like the Hunger Games trying to sign up for something at the RA for
Oh, yeah.
programs. So
Yes.
and we were all
Yes.
so like, "Oh my god, we all have to sign up and be in the same program again." To
Yeah.
the point where, 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday, whatever, we'd all
Yeah.
be there at the no, we took it a step further because we didn't wanna
Oh,
things to mess up, so we all had our laptops or our iPads at the RA in front of guest services counter in case we ran
oh,
into
wow.
trouble. Yeah, we weren't taking
Help us.
chances.
Help us. We
Yeah,
need to get in. We
we
need
are
to get.
very serious and committed. Or we
I
should
love
be
it. Well,
committed.
that's terrific. Well, listen, let's get into Rally 3 because this is really why we're here today. And it's to talk about this incredible fundraising journey that you've been on. And I'd like to just hand the paddle to you on this one and let you just run with this and give as much detail, Andrea, as you can. I want to see your shirt. You shared it before we got on camera. Make sure we see the shirt because it's wonderful.
Pickle
Pickle Power. I
power!
love it. Yeah, but I want to hear about the pool and how we went from the pool to the pickleball court. I want to hear about all the proceeds. We're staying in this is like Sesame Street, the letter P, pickle power, pickle pool profits,
Proceeds.
fund, yeah, proceeds.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all great. So that's really bad. Yeah, maybe we'll edit that
Uh
part out. I don't know, but you know what I'm getting at. But please tell me about all the fundraising that you've done and give me a sense too, if you don't mind. The money is one thing. and I understand the importance of that money. And I know the money that you've raised has done good things. You know, in
Yes.
the short time I've had to kind of look into your story, I understand that you've been able to purchase certain equipment, and it's made a difference. But I have to also think that part of this is awareness. And letting people know that they're not alone, and that there is support groups out there, and I would love for you to weigh in on that. So why don't you run with that? It's up to you to kind of tell the story from this point on.
Okay. So, I was a little more obsessed with swimming before this whole pickleball stuff came into my life, admittedly, and it was a really good fitness journey for me. So I swam with a master's group, and our coach, Andrea Smith, is a former Olympian, and basically a few of us hatched up this idea to have a swim meet fundraiser, and it was called Olympink. Um, I know, I can't even say Olympic anymore, it always comes out Olympink. Yeah, oh, like I watch the Olympics on TV. Um, anyway, so we dreamed this fundraiser up, and it ended up being just a fabulous event because we had 6 Olympians join us in the pool, and it was a regular masters swim meet for the rest of it, but we'd have this moment where we got into the pool, each of us survivors, or 2, 3 survivors with an Olympian, and we did a ceremonial swim to the end of the pool and back. And I was always paired up with my friend and coach and Olympian, Andrea. Um, and so she, of course, being an Olympian, she has this crazy competitive spirit. So we'd be kicking with the kickboard and our little Olympic torch, and she'd be yelling at me, kick harder, kick harder. So I had no idea what was going on around me. But my husband and my friends who were in the stands were like, oh my God, there was not a dry eye in the house. And and it became this moment of, you can't get through a cancer diagnosis, in my opinion, without support around you. And it's similar to being an Olympic, see, I said it again, Olympic athlete. You can't get to the Olympics without a world of support around you. And I mean, it's very different, but we saw the similarities, and we kind of went with that, and it really worked. And we started off very small. We only raised $19,000 in our inaugural year, but kept going up every year. We a little break for a little thing called COVID, and then last year we raised $143,000. And so in previous years, some of the money was raised for the Ottawa Hospital, and we were able to buy the breast health center at the Ottawa Hospital a new ultrasound machine. There is an ultrasound room that has the Olympic name on it, which is pretty cool. And then we pivoted to supporting the Ottawa Cancer Foundation, partly because it was sort of time to refocus on what I felt was really important, and that's the support programs around being on the cancer journey. The hospital is great. They save your lives. Absolutely. That's what they're really good at, but they sort of fall down a little bit on the whole support of the person inside the patient. And that's where I saw the need. And so Olympink last year, and well, 2 years of Olympink, the money went to the Ottawa Cancer Foundation. So yeah, we were, and last year we had famous Canadian Olympian Maggie McNeil join us, and that
Uh-huh.
was an amazing day, such an amazing day. And her mother had had breast cancer, so every time you turn around, there's someone else who, oh well, my mother, oh my sister, or my whatever. Yeah, it's there. And the need for support is real. This can be a very isolating journey, even for those that have what they think is enough family and friend support. But you don't know about things like how to deal with chemotherapy, the nutrition you should be having, the mind numbing fatigue that you undergo. There are programs, I can't even list all the programs at the Ottawa Cancer Foundation that people can access, all at no charge. And they walk into that place and they feel like, ah, this is where I belong. This is where people get me. And it's not in the hospital setting, which is also really, really important. I've met, so I run my support group at the Cancer Foundation twice a month. And I meet women there all the time who, say, "Oh, it's basically a full-time job for me now to come here and go to all these different programs." But it's such a great help to them. It's how they get through everything, and it's how they learn to cope with the many side effects and whatever else. So I find that a really, really important thing. And sadly, it's not something that the government funds. So everything that the Ottawa Cancer Foundation offers free of charge is funded by the generosity of donors and the community. And so that's why, to me, this is a really, really important thing. So we are at about $78,000 dollars right now, and it's Monday, and I gotta believe that a lot of people are really last minute givers. So we'll see. We've already we started off with a $50,000 goal, and we've had to change that upwards twice now. So that's a pretty it's a pretty exciting thing for a first time event. And it's not like, this isn't about duper ratings, this tournament, right? It's not, we only have two, it's a round robin. We only have two categories, 3.5 and over, 3.49 and under. And so it's going to be a mishmash, but it's going to be about fun. We have some crazy names. For example, my team's name is the Gherkin Girls. We have the Spicy Picklers. We have the Smash Brothers. We have Big Dill. We have wait, Big Dill, no skills, something like that. Like, just great. Like, people are having a lot of fun with this, and I am hearing from others who aren't even really close to me necessarily. Oh yeah, we just ordered our costumes, and like, we're gonna have matching outfits and this, that, and the other thing, so it's really going to be fun. And I need to acknowledge that my pickleball friends have been very helpful in creating swag. Um, every player, and there are 90 players signed up right now, will get an emotional support pickle person. They will get a sticker, and they will get a pickleball. And hold on, this is what 100
Oh my
pickleballs
goodness.
looks like.
That is a lot of pickleballs. Isn't that awesome? Wow. Well, congrats on organizing all that. I mean, what a great swag package that
Yep.
is.
Silent auction, prizes, you name it. Oh, and look at this beauty. It's a pickleball charcuterie board made by a good friend of ours who was a contractor for his career, and he made three of these for me, and they're gorgeous.
Isn't it wonderful? But to see this game that, started back in 1965, Bainbridge Island, bunch of kids running around, driving mom and dad crazy, Barney McCallum and the rest of them figuring out how to keep them occupied that afternoon. And here we are today raising money for such a great cause. And
Yeah,
I just think you're seeing more and more and more of pickleball. Golf tournaments were historically great fundraisers for a lot of different causes,
right.
still are. And
Yep.
it may have been a game that I loved at one point, but I've got no time for that anymore because I'm a pickleball player. So I'm done with the golf thing. I'm just all pickleball all the time. I'm like a 24-hour news channel for pickleball, but
And
good on
also,
you
how many
guys.
calories do you burn playing golf? I mean,
Just, yeah, really not a lot, especially if you take the cart. Yeah. So let's get into a bit of the details. So how many teams did you say there were involved?
I think we've got 44 or 45 teams signed up right now, and we had said 100 players was our max, so we're almost there. As you know, we're playing this tournament at the Forge, and the Forge has 11 courts, and it's such a beautiful facility. And Brett Conway, one of the owners of the Forge, has been uh, immensely helpful in making this happen, and super supportive, and always there with answers to questions, and willing to go the extra mile to make sure this is a great event. So he's been super wonderful. I've got Darren Lalonde and Jeff LaFrance, um, who have a company called Mission Elite. They are actually running the pickleball like the play, because what do I know about running a turn? I've never even played in a tournament, so
Well, there you go. This is a good one to start with. A really good one to start with.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I do all the other stuff, but they do the heavy lifting on the day of. Yeah.
Wow. And it's happening April 18th at the
April
Forge in
Saturday,
Ottawa.
April 18th, yes, and if you wanna they have a great viewing area upstairs at the Forge, if you wanna come and watch and learn a little bit more about, pickleball. We do have 4 people learning to play pickleball for the first time for an hour before. We did have a learn to play pickleball p component, but I think most people already know how to play, so it didn't really catch on.
No worries. And it's kicking off. What time's the kickoff? Is it 1 o'clock start time for
It's
the
1 o'clock,
tournament on
1 o'clock to five
Yeah.
o'clock. Yep,
Wow. What a
yep,
great
it's
event. Well, you know what? Congratulations on all of this. I think it's nice to see it come from the pool to the pickleball court, and I know it's going to do well. And what is this?
it's a
Pickle
trophy.
Power. Oh, you're too much. There's not a trick
I
you've
am.
missed on this one. I love it. Yeah. Well, listen, thank you for all of this, and thank you for all you're
Okay.
doing to create the awareness, and good luck on Saturday. And I wish you nothing but the best, and we'll stay in touch. I'm going to follow this
Thanks,
story
Mike.
from the sidelines. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.